Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley Marie and I'm here today to talk about pharmacology and a little bit of fundamental, but mostly this video is going to be about pharmacology, so stick around y'all. Alright y'all, so I started my semester off in January and I was taking pharmacology and I was also taking fundamentals patient care. So this was my first session doing clinicals, and we did our clinicals at a, what was it? See, I'm just so out of it. The trauma y'all, the trauma. We did our clinicals at a nursing home, which was really cool, and I will tell you about that experience, but I'm pretty sure you want to hear about pharmacology first. I wanted to get into pharmacology and how I got a 92 out the class and a 93 on my final, and I wanted to give you guys some advice. Pharmacology is one of those classes that you hear about and they say it's one of those hard classes, and I am here to tell you it is what they say it is. Pharmacology is that girl. It is going to give you a run for your money, because it gave me a run for my money, and I can say that I made my lowest exam was a 78, and I studied really long for that exam. Like, I put in a lot of work and I still barely made it, but nevertheless I passed. With pharmacology, we go over a lot of classifications, we go by the generic names. So you have your like trade name, your generic names, and then you have your chemical names. So we learned all the medications we learned were all generic names, and we also learned classifications. We started off learning about pain medications, hormone regulation, which are like your thyroid hormones. That was pretty cool to learn about. We also moved on to what is this? Am I on the right one? Oh, I am on the right one. We learned about, I said pain, we learned about the opioids, thyroids, we learned about like psychiatric drugs. We touched on that. We learned about the drugs that you use for constipation and like things to control your nausea and vomiting and diarrhea. Like, we learned a lot of drugs. So this is how I studied for exam 1. In exam 1, I made a, let's go back. I'm gonna put it on the screen and let's calculate that. I think I took a picture, so I don't even gotta calculate it. I know I took a picture. Okay, for exam 1, I made an 81.67 on that exam. And for that one, I didn't even know how to study. Like, I'm used to reading the book and writing my notes from class, but this class was not one of those classes that you can just read the book. Like, it's not gonna work like that. It's trust me. Put the book to the side. Get what you need from the book and put it to the side, because it's not gonna work like that. What I did for this exam was I wrote these. Let's go back to the small keeper. I wrote index cards. I got the small index cards. I will write the drug and I will write the classification, and I will write, you know, what it's the indication for that drug, side effects, and adverse effects. So you need to know the difference between a side effect and an adverse effect. A side effect is what you expect to happen when you take this drug. So it's not like it's not sending off alarms. An adverse effect is what you don't expect to happen, what can happen but you don't expect to happen, and that does send off alarms. You do want to call the healthcare provider, and you guys do want to come up with an intervention for that patient. You also need to know, as a nurse, what do you need to monitor for with certain drugs, and your client education. That was a big thing. We got tested on a lot about client education, so you need to know that. I would say you focus a lot on the side effects, adverse effects, and the client education. And for me, the client education and the nursing, it goes hand in hand. Some of them don't, but you'll make your own. Like once you get into it and you start writing the drugs out, you'll understand it. Give me 1 second. Let me show you. Let me get this packet that I got. Hold on. Okay, y'all. So yeah, I would make those index cards and I would study that. And of course, I use ChatGPT to help me do practice questions, which also helped with like, what is it, making it stick. Because the big thing is you need to know it. It's either you got it or you don't, for real. So our teacher, she would give us these. Let me get these out. She would give us these handouts, which were very helpful, and I did not utilize them for the first test. And I probably should have, but I didn't utilize that for the first test. So again, with the first test, I made an 81, which was pretty good, because I didn't know. I had to learn how to study, like what you use, your study habits in one class. I'm pretty sure once you get to pharmacology, you're going to have to switch it up. You're going to have to find a different way to study. I know a lot of my classmates, well, not a lot, but I know a few of them, they couldn't study the same way they study for like fundamentals. So, and that happened with me. Like I'm a book reader. I'm going to read the book. But for the second exam, I made a 78.19 on that exam. Again, I passed, but it was a barely passing. And with that exam, it was much harder than the first one. It was way harder than the first one. And again, my teacher did give us these packets, like, I don't know. So basically, these are packets that it went over each classification, and it gave you the drug in the classification. It talked about basically it's what's in your book, but instead of having all the fluff, it's get straight to the point. This is what she gave us, which was really helpful. Again, I didn't really know how to take notes for the second exam. I would be in class, and she'll have like a slideshow going, and I didn't even realize that the slideshow was exactly what was on this printout until later in the game. But I'll be trying to type it, and then I'll give up. Like it was really frustrating because you really didn't know how to like learn the information, and you're just in class like, I don't even know what you're talking about. These are new words. You can't hardly pronounce these words. But I know a lot of us were frustrated, but you gotta just find your way. So by time I took the second exam, I kind of figured out what I needed to do, how I needed to study, and what I needed to focus on. And I realized that, again, she was reading off these slides. So what I did, as you can see, I love to highlight. And I like write little notes. So I will follow along in class with this, highlight what she's talking about, especially like the drugs that she touched on the most. And I'll highlight key points of what she was trying to what she emphasized that we need to know about a certain drug, like the antidepressants and the SSRI drugs. You need to know that serotonin syndrome. She repeated that so many times. You needed to know that. Like little lab values, I put it all on the paper. So in class, I wasn't typing my notes. I was listening to what she was saying, and I was highlighting the key points, key ideas, anything that she was trying to anything she was trying to what was the word? Tell us it was important without telling us it's important. It's called wink wink, you know? I also decided to go, and I realized that writing my drugs on the index cards were helpful, but I needed more room, y'all. I needed more room, so I got the big ones. I upgraded, if you can see, same concept, but it's not small, and I'm not leaving out information like I was kind of leaving out on the first card deck. So this is how I studied for my final. On my final, y'all, I made a drum roll, please. And this was a lot of drugs, y'all. On my final, I made a 93. a 93.23 for my final, which boosted me up to an A in the class, y'all. I was so happy when I seen my grade. I was like, oh no. But I kind of knew that I did really good because I was flying through the test. And it usually takes me, I'm usually either the second to last. I'm always in that last group to leave because I'm reading my questions. For this, again, I wrote the drug. I wrote the mechanism, like how it works in your body. The side effects, the adverse effects, the nursing, and the education. But for this one, I also highlighted, I don't know if you can see. I highlighted and I underlined in red what I really needed to know, the important details that I needed to know, and for the drug. So with this, the final exam, I focused more on the classifications, because once you know the classification, you kind of know how all the drugs work under that class. They don't all work the same, and they do have, okay, I'm not gonna say they don't, they work similarly, but it's like key differences that is like a test question. How can I put this? Okay, let me see if I can find y'all an example, because I really am tapped out. Okay, so like beta blockers, you have your selective and then you have your non-selective, and one of them covers the heart and the other one covers the lungs. Even though they're all under beta blockers, they're different in a way. They have similar side effects, but they have similar side effects, and it's probably like one or two side effects that either go under non-selective and selective. There's your example. I'm not gonna go into detail, y'all, because my brain is off. I got 4 days. My brain is off. So I focus on classifications, and then I use ChatGPT, y'all. This is what I wrote my cards out, and after I wrote my cards out, it's like, okay, me writing my cards out, it was me reading it, I'm writing it, so that's double reinforcement, and then I'm testing myself on it, so that's like a triple reinforcement. I started off just asking Chat to do test me on the medications, and then we did a class review like for the final, and I realized I need to focus more on the classifications, and that's what's going to help me. So I told Chat to, our teacher would give us this. It's like a list of drugs. Where's the drugs? Our teacher would give us a list of drugs, right? This was for the final. And your best bet is to know about all these drugs. You need to know the classification for all the drugs. You need to know what the drug is used for. That's like the basic base of it. So I took this paper and I dropped it into Chat, and I said, Chat, give me NCLEX-style test questions on these medications. And I said to test me on the adverse, the side effects, client teaching, what else? The effectiveness of the drug, and the antidotes. And it gave me test questions for each medication. Then I went in and I told Chat, just test me on the classifications. Don't test me on medications. Don't use medication names. Just test me on the classification. And it would test me on the classifications. And I'm like, okay, this is working. I'm getting it. I'm getting it. And then after a while with Chat, you have to tell Chat to test you on something different about those classifications, or test you on something different about the medications, because it'll continue to test you on the same thing, like same question, but you have to talk to Chat like as if you're talking to a human being. And that's what I did, y'all. Like I said, you need to know the nursing. You need to know what the drug is used for, which is the indication. You need to know if it has a black box warning. You need to know the adverse effects, which is very important. And you need to know the side effects too. So then you could teach your client or your patient that, oh, okay, this is normal. This is normal. you don't have to worry. You don't have to call the healthcare provider. You don't have to worry about that. It'll eventually go away. No, this is not normal. You need to call your healthcare provider immediately, or that they need to make sure they get their blood levels checked and stuff like that. You need to know those key things about the medication. It is going to take time. You're not going to get it off rip. It's not one of those classes that you could just sit down and not study for. You have to put in the work. I feel like it's way worse than patho. It's way worse than patho. You need to sit down. You're learning a different language at one, because who knows, like, come on now. Some of these drugs. Say some of these drugs' names. I can't even pronounce. I used to be in class. Look, this is carbidopa levodopa. See, I've been saying it wrong. Carbidopa levodopa. See, I can't even pronounce these names. Dextromethorphan. I can't even pronounce these names. But if I see the name of the drug, I know what it's doing. I know what it's doing. I know the side effects. I know what I need to teach my client. I'm working on solidifying it. I'm not like, okay, I'm still a student, y'all. I'm still a student. But it did help me, and that's how I got my 93 at the class. I ended up making a 92. Y'all, just focus. Focus. Find your way, and I'm telling you, you need to find your way. You need to work on finding your way fast. And I will say, you always want to make a good score on the first exam, because the second exam is always going to be harder. I feel like once you get to the final, you kind of know your groove. You know how to, you kind of know your groove. You know what to do. You know what you need to study. You know the kind of questions they're going to be asking you. So that was how I was able to ace my final in pharmacology. So for fundamentals, y'all, this was my first clinicals, and it was so much fun, y'all. It was so much fun. At first, I was really intimidated because we were at a nursing home, and I'm not used to dealing with elderly people. But I can say the first day I almost cried, because you go into their rooms and they have their pictures of their life. Like, you can see their life story on the walls, and it was just kind of like, dang, we're all headed to, this is where we're headed to. We're going to grow old, and some of us, we're lucky to grow old and have our health. So it made me appreciate my health more. I met some amazing people at my clinical site, and they had a good sense of humor. I took vital signs. What we did there, I took vital signs. We helped out pass out trades. I fed a couple of clients. And, we didn't really get to do much because it was like an introduction to us, and, we're still students. But it was a great experience for me. I don't know about anybody else. My clinical instructor was amazing. I really appreciated her. She really helped us. She even helped us. She answered some questions about pharm, because we were over there freaking out, but she listened to us, and she really supported us throughout our clinical experience. Fundamentals is just like, it's just like fundamentals 1, and I feel like it could have been combined, but I guess we also took a CJE, which is like a benchmark for this fundamentals. I did terrible on it. I usually do good, but I wasn't feeling good that day, so I did really bad, but I still passed the class with an A. So I got 2 A's this session. Clap, 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 clap. Fundamentals is pretty much, you could read the book. People read the book. My teacher was really good at giving us the information that we needed. So I didn't really rely on the book as much this session for fundamentals, because I had a great teacher for that class too. Like, she been riding with us, y'all. You take your notes, go over your notes, and you'll be good for fundamentals, especially if you go to Chamberlain. Like, they do support you. We have VCAS. I felt like the VCAS for pharmacology wasn't as helpful, but you gotta find your way in pharmacology. Pharmacology is one of those classes where it's really gonna test you. Do you really want to be here? Because it's not an easy class, y'all. But hopefully this helped you guys out. Just updating you guys on what I was doing for the past month, and you know how this goes. If I can drop a video in between classes, I will, but if not, I'm just gonna focus on my class. This session I was not able to post anything because, again, I was getting beat up. But again, a couple of y'all reached out to me for help, and I was happy to help you guys. I hope that helped you prepare though. Again, you guys are open to reach out to me. Again, I'll answer any questions that you need. I appreciate it. I'm up to 300 subscribers. I am appreciative for that. I appreciate you guys for subscribing, liking my videos, even if you share, commenting. I love that. I appreciate it so much. I'm just here to help, and I do want to share my journey with you guys. I wish you guys the best of luck, but I'm tuning out. I'm going out to eat. I'm going to celebrate my A's. I'm looking like a human being right now because I was looking rough before. But thank you again, y'all. See y'all in my next video.